You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. Her Twitter bots. You probably have an awareness that there is an ongoing court battle, and this is taking place between a gentleman called Nate the Lawyer, that's his Twitter handle, and of course one Christopher Boozy, who is finding his rather unusual organisation and setup is getting a repeated hammering in terms of exposure of behaviours which are, to put it mildly, questionable. Part of this revolves around the suggestion that bots have been used, which is quite ironic given the fact that Mr. Boozy's company is called Bot Sentinel, and apparently, as part of its remit, is there to root out the use of bots because they're seen as being part of skullduggery. The fact is that there has been a discovery that bot armies have been utilised in terms of attacking people who have criticised Harry's wife. Now, there's nothing to suggest that Harry's wife is necessarily the one that has orchestrated this, but nevertheless, it would not be a surprise to see if there was some association in that regard, because if someone were to come to her and say, I can provide you with an attack dog that not only mauls those who criticise you, but also ensures that favourable copy is plastered throughout the Twitter sphere on a regular basis. Are you interested? And it's highly likely that a narcissist would say yes. And you know why that is, don't you? You know, as a consequence of my work, because it will allow that narcissist to assert control over more people by having them, in inverted commas, in a virtual form, popping up here, there and everywhere, far more times than they could do themselves, with favourable copy being advanced about them. That would then enable them to assert control over a variety of individuals throughout the Twitter sphere. It would also, of course, allow the nullification of a threat to control that's posed by those that are criticising, by invalidating them, by devaluing them, by having a group swarm these individuals, possibly intimidating them into silence. The reactions, of course, to the use of the bots, although people would not at first know that this is what is happening, would also provide the provision of fuel. It would, of course, provide a residual benefit by enabling the narcissist to manage their facade effectively. Accordingly, a bot army is particularly attractive because it multiplies the power of the narcissist. As you know from my other videos, social media is a playground for the narcissist, and its advent over the last 20 years or so has provided such a greater reach for us in terms of controlling people, finding fresh victims, both in terms of just generally tertiary sources, and then, of course, homing in on people to become our intimate partner primary sources. It has enabled narcissists around the world to connect, not in terms of them necessarily knowing what they are, but for example, where you might have a narcissist that has some rather strange ideas, they might have just been regarded as the village idiot, the strange guy who wanders around with the old tinfoil helmet on his head. However, now because he can punch his ideas into the internet and find that somebody in a city in the next state, or in a city in a neighbouring country, or in a city across the world, or a mountain village somewhere, or a lakeside hamlet, wherever it might be, all of those people with similar ideas, he can link up with them. And therefore, they reach out to one another and form those connections, and then combined can start a groundswell of misinformation, disinformation even, based upon their skewed perspective of the world as a consequence of their unaware need for control. Accordingly, the advent of social media is something which has really helped our kind. And, of course, the use of technology to patrol and marshal the highways and byways of social media has proven attractive to narcissists. An article by Camilla Tominey of The Telegraph tells us Megbot army linked to Russian conspiracy theories, tweeting obsessive support for Duchess, says report. Suspicious bot-like Twitter accounts and handles linked to Russian conspiracy theories have been obsessively tweeting about the Duchess of Sussex, an investigation has found. Analysis of accounts interconnected into a Harry's Wife Twitter community found around 1,000 highly connected accounts, which have tweeted more than 2.5 million times. One account with the second highest number of pro-Harry's Wife followers, which also tweets about US politics from a pro-democratic perspective, appeared to indicate bot-like activity, while the fourth most shared account frequently tweets from Russia Today and had questioned Sergei Skripal's near-fatal Novichok poisoning. The research by 89up, the consultancy firm which carried out an analysis of Facebook data for a DCMS Select Committee report, found an unusually high reach for the narrow interconnected group of Harry's Wife fans. On Friday, research by Hope Not Hate and CNN revealed that out of 5,200 abusive tweets directed at Harry's wife in January and February, 3,600 came from the same small cohort of trolls. Now, a new report suggests a similar degree of collusion between some of the Duchess's most obsessive champions. 89up, which had previously worked for the pro-Remain Best for Britain group, found a network of 1,103 highly connected Twitter accounts had tweeted 2,555,070 times, with a potential reach of 1 billion Twitter impressions. This is an unusually high reach for a narrow, interconnected group, said the report by 89up, which used the search terms like Duchess of Sussex and hashtag Harry's Wife, actually using her actual name, to locate the tweets. While very few of the larger of the Twitter accounts in this community were found to be entirely automated, many have unusual features, suggesting there could be collusion or automation behind some of the accounts, said the report. It also found evidence of coordinated attacks on royal correspondents who have written negative stories about Harry's wife, with one journalist targeted with over 7,000 posts. Josh Feldberg, director of Digital at 89up, said there is highly suspicious activity on Twitter around search terms linked to the Duchess of Sussex. It is unclear the extent to which this content is automated, but the prevalence of strange Twitter usernames and the overlap between accounts that tweet primarily about politics but also tweet extensively about the Duchess could point to an orchestrated campaign to manipulate public opinion by an organisation or state. It is not impossible that there is just a fanatical community of people online who are tweeting all-day content about the Duchess, but the scale of the community and the amount of content they are sharing should make us suspicious. 89up undertook an analysis of the network of accounts interconnected into a Harry's Wife Twitter community, using prominent accounts including, positively, Meg H1, Duchess on Duty and Sussex Archive. The account with the second highest number of followers linked to positively Meg H1 is JDoll51, which also tweets about left-wing US politics and predominantly retweets other accounts, an indicator of bot-like activity, according to the report. This account is linked by a follower relationship to other accounts with bot-like characteristics that retweet content about Markle consistently. The fourth most shared account, tweeting positive posts about the Duchess, Lewis No. 1 fan, posted no fewer than 1,596 tweets about Harry's wife in the last year. In recent weeks, the account has been downplaying the anti-Semitism crisis in the Labour Party, defending suspended Labour MP Chris Williamson, as well as sharing tweets from Russia Today and Skripal conspiracy theories. Now, this was reported on back in March 2019, so nearly 4 years ago. But it has become pertinent again recently as a consequence of the connections that occur with regard to the legal action that's taking place between Nate the lawyer and Christopher Boozy. But it also provides me with an opportunity to explain how a narcissist may well utilize automated accounts in this way. to ensure the pursuit of the prime aims. It's important to emphasise that this report is not suggesting that this was orchestrated by the Duchess of Sussex, but it is also worthwhile pointing out that it's something that a narcissist could well utilise, and it would be hugely advantageous. It also, of course, demonstrates the rabid nature of those who claim to operate on a #BeKind basis with regard to defending the Duchess of Sussex, but then engage in unpleasant ad hominem attacks on anybody who happens to comment in a critical fashion about her, as is their right, as a consequence of expressing an opinion and freedom of speech. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.